While you're signing that, I have two public service announcements, I guess, that I would like to read. This is not on your agenda. This is an additional. So I just wanted to let everyone know Wabash Township is always there to help people in crisis. So if you or someone you know is affected by the government shutdown, please call our office and set up an appointment. We can help with rent, utilities, clothing, including footwear, household essentials, medical services, including prescriptions, and burial expenses. We can also assist with food. We will work with food finders and other local service providers to assist our township residents. Our phone number is 765-497-3100, and you can also come to the office at 2899 Klondike Road, West Lafayette, Indiana, 47906. I also would like to let everyone know that last week Karen put in her resignation, so she's going to leave us on the 31st of this month. We will be having a cake for her at 11 a.m. And in appreciation of her service here with the township. We really appreciate that. And so if you would like to attend, please come and thank Karen.
When is that again?
That's the 31st of January at 11 a.m. That will be her last day in the office. So I have hired, as of this morning, Michael Childress has started. He will be, his position will be Deputy Trustee / Township Assistance Coordinator. So we are taking the two positions, the three positions that were with the trustee's office in 2018 prior, and kind of combining those down into two positions. So, all right.
May I ask for the justification behind that move?
Like what? What question do you have?
What is the justification behind combining those roles? Is my specific question.
So the first thing is that until I have a really good understanding of the needs of the budget and the requirements, I'm not comfortable hiring someone to do that. I believe in order to do the job appropriately, I need to know the job. And so I'm the kind of person that needs to do it first. At this point, I wouldn't even be able to interview anyone intelligently about the expectations of the job. So now, what is the justification of having him do additional work to what Karen has been doing? So there were two jobs. There was a deputy trustee and actually have this, we're going to be talking about this later. So there was a deputy trustee position, and then the trustee, and then a secretary / clerk position. And I have had conversations with Karen as she's been doing that work, and she feels like within the scope of the job that she would have been able to do additional work. And also, I have 4 jobs. So I own my own business, I'm a CASA, I do this, and I have an Airbnb. From what I understand in the past, that has not been the case. And the trustee has, and the deputy trustee were working more hours. So I feel like it's in the township's best interest to make sure that we have that covered. So for example, if I weren't in the office, the deputy trustee can sign a check, right? Or can sign, so we'll get him bonded and could sign some of the paperwork so that I'm not necessarily having to come to the office every single day. So that's part of it. And then, like I said, the other part is that I need to know the job before I can intelligently hire someone. Other questions?
I thought maybe that one's for you to sign.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, there should be 2.
There's that one. And are you collecting both of them?
No, I will give one back. That one is for you.
For her?
Well, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct.
And
the board is what I meant.
Yeah.
One is for.
Where's this pen?
I miss the Michael
I
Childress.
want to use your pen.
That's what's gonna
you're
make you sick.
I know.
You start chewing on your nails right now.
No, I'm gonna use that, what Beth just handed me. Okay, we'll just share that pen.
Michael Childress is.
And also
starting or
it's,
being
you know, at the
hired?
purview of the trustee, so I made that decision.
I understand. I
Yeah.
just think it's
Go
a
ahead.
Michael
question.
Childress
Yeah,
is confirmed starting or?
He
is
started this morning.
Started.
Yep, he started this morning.
Oh, yeah.
We, Karen has until the 31st,
Was he
and
excited?
I definitely need, her to do the training as it's
Yeah.
day 22 of the job. So, yes.
Was he excited about it though? About
Oh,
getting
yeah.
the job?
No,
I bet you
yeah.
that made his day.
Yeah, I think,
Such a
I
good
think
guy.
he, well, and that's, so there were interviews, and the reason that
Yeah.
Michael was chosen was because I personally know some of the people that he's worked with in the past and the trust issue, like, because he is gonna be a signer on the bank account. So, it was definitely,
Oh, he did
You
a
know.
similar role for the Hannah Center. so-
he's done multiple, yes, he has definitely, does have experience, correct. But other people had experience as
I like
well,
that.
but the trust, knowing people that he's worked for before was a big, are we splitting these? Let's split these. Yeah, that's yours, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take both of those.
Technically, you keep it for. But it can all go
Yeah,
in.
keep it for now, and then we'll figure out that technicality, because we've always done where the secretary had the book.
Makes sense. for
Okay.
secretary.
Yeah,
But yeah.
and I lose things.
Another reason. I do not.
Okay,
I didn't think you did.
do you want me to keep going?
Oh,
On the agenda, 2018 annual report. Okay, so, as I said last time, I did not create the annual report. And so when I went into the system to look at things after our meeting and to try to get this straight, the annual report was not correct. So it has been corrected. I brought copies for each of you. Why doesn't that have a paper clip? That one does. And then I have one for the public, if you'd like to see it.
Sure. As a public,
So this is the first the board is seeing of the corrected report, is that correct?
Yes, yep, it just got finished today, or I just received it today. I shouldn't say it got, I still did not create this report, so let's be clear. That was done by Bill Jones. So I think that let's see here. So the first thing that I want you to know, or the difference that I believe you will see if you look at what I have presented you this evening and what you saw last time, was this is the balancing report. So each month we reconcile the bank account to see what checks have cleared, confirm that things have been done appropriately, that they're in the system in our software, and then we will print out a report that shows that we don't have an unbalanced error. So what you should see on this report, right, is, or what should match on this report, which did not before, was that our bank account balance is the same in our system as it is at the bank. So we got our bank statement, right? And then the next thing that you should see, be able to confirm, which I also could not confirm last time, was that here it says our bank balance. So obviously we have outstanding checks, so uncashed checks. And so that amount should match our annual report. So if you go to the page 2 of your annual report, and you look at your grand total of end cash and investment balance December 31st, 2018, this is our balance, $570,717.62. And that should match this report. So now you can see, I can pass this around to you. I did not make copies of the entire bank account, but everyone is welcome to look at it, of course. But it does all match.
What was the discrepancy?
You know what?
Unknown.
I don't even want to speak to that because I didn't do this myself. This was Bill Jones, And I was there, but, I mean, he found there were things that were not entered into our system. So there were things that were missing, transactions that were missing that had occurred, both in and out of the bank account. So those had to be fixed. And then I know things were miscategorized, so things were in the wrong place, which caused a problem. So.
Do we know the total of the discrepancy by chance?
We could go back. I did not print out that report that I had last time, mainly because it looks exactly like this one, and I didn't want to, I wanted you to know what was right.
Right.
So, but we have that via the electronic documents, so you could definitely go back and look at what I've provided you this evening versus what you got last week. Yeah, I don't even want to say, because I could guess, but why? Why do that? So just to go over the annual report, things that I think might be important for us to look at is this first page. So you can see here, we have a list of all of the funds. The rainy day fund, which currently December 31st had a cash balance of $76,075.45. The general fund, $58,821.24. And then you have your excess levy fund, $39,3685. Township assistance, $16,003. Firefighting fund, $67,161.68. Fire equipment debt, $7,472.47. Cume Fire, $341,246.93. And then we have a payroll deductions. This is required for auditing purposes, so that they can see what dollars went in and what went out. So it is important that that is zero now for the end of the year balance. So some of the things that I think are important to note here that people have asked me already is this cumulative fire fund. So that fund is specific. So it's an additional tax that the township pays, the unincorporated portion of the township, for fire services, and it can only be used for very certain things. Bill Jones said that he helped set up this cumulative fire, and that, of course, as you may have noticed because you guys were here, but the board votes to continue that tax. And the board did continue that into 2019, so that is continuing right now. The main purpose that he told me that they set that up was for large equipment such as trucks. So they are intending to build this account until they can pay for the next truck via cash and not have to get a loan. So that was the intent when it was first set up, and I thought it might be important to just kind of talk about that a little bit. Do you guys have any questions about that?
I'm not clear exactly what all cumulative fire can be spent on, what things it could be spent on. It could buy a truck, could it buy buildings?
Equipment.
Capital.
Truck, so it's out of my truck stuff.
It says equipment.
But
So,
it doesn't say
it could be
like capital outlays?
It does.
So wouldn't that be building or no?
I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
I don't want to
I was
guess.
just curious.
We would definitely have to look at how that was set and what the requirements are. Their intention was trucks.
Well, I mean, it's a large amount of money, and do you happen to know, like, and I am literally just brainstorming right now, so I won't take up too much time, but do you happen to know, like, what the rules are with as far as, like, investing with funds and things?
We definitely can invest funds.
Because that's a large amount of money, and that if it was receiving any kind of interest going back into the fund, if we never really get into this fund that much, we don't need to get into it all that much, then it might be a way of, I mean, that's what we do at the library.
Yes. We currently do not have any investments.
Mhm.
We are allowed to do that. They have to be short-term investments, and they have to be very specific, so bonds or
Okay.
other things. So yeah, we can definitely look at that.
But that would be allowed by law then?
It is allowed,
It is.
correct. And other townships
Okay.
do that.
Okay.
And I feel confident that we can definitely look at that. Other questions about this, like this specifically?
What is fire equipment debt?
Good question.
Not just our current debt load from the
So-
trucks we've purchased.
Because it would be a lot higher because the trucks.
That's a good question.
No, the cumulative fire is how we have been paying
Yeah.
our debt.
The fire
So-
equipment debt.
So I'm not sure why they have the two, I mean, no.
A separate.
No, I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I was gonna say I don't think they're putting, but they are. They're still putting money in that. So, I am not sure why they have two funds for that.
When I get,
But yeah, I think the questions are good because we can answer those at the next meeting, for
Mhm.
sure. I can find the answers for you.
Yeah, that was always a question.
Yeah.
And then the last question is let's say we spend $16,003 in township assistance next week.
Mhm.
What happens after that?
Well, we have,
We'll be out of money. Or let's say,
Well-
all I'm saying, let's say we spend all of the money for township assistance. Let's say for some, the
Yeah.
place gets flooded
sure,
and people have so much trouble because the government shut down and,
sure.
what happens after that?
We'd have to
How do we
allocate
get
more.
money?
We have to
Yeah.
allocate more, find a line
From
of
where?
credit.
Well, so if we could find it out of the budget,
Mhm.
that would probably be the first thing that I would recommend. Now, I want you to know that I have been told, again by Bill Jones, who, again, in the past has been advising the trustee's office, that the rainy day fund will be spent, and we will need all of that money for things that, I mean, I guess he's expecting that is going to happen this year, that we will be spending all of that money. So, with that in mind, like Brendan said, we would have to look toward
Okay.
debt, a loan of some sort, or, we could also, grants.
Can
So
we
that's
ask
one
the
of the
town,
things
can
that-
the commissioners give extra for that kind of stuff?
Oh,
Because there's some
I'm
kind of
sure the
relationship.
commissioners can give money if they want to,
And the
but,
county council can as
yeah,
well.
the county council can as well, right? Yeah, I'm sure they can.
Yeah.
Yes. We can lobby them. Absolutely, we can go and ask for money. In fact, as they were talking about in the training well, I think we've all attended that training at this point, so we all probably heard that
I
that we
remember
can.
what I heard.
It was a long training, that we can, that townships have done that in the past, and they have direction on how to do that.
Okay.
So we can look into that.
Those were just some
as well.
questions that I want to get on the record for the future.
yeah, and my understanding is that even if we ran out of funds in that pot of money, we can't turn away from it,
Based upon that alone.
based upon that.
Correct.
So
Based on
means
that
We do need to
alone.
figure out, yeah, based on that alone, you cannot turn away people, so we'd have to figure something out.
I think we should kind of look at the second page. I brought you, or the next page, I'm sorry, that's page 3 that I'm referring to. So I brought you this printout mostly because I find it completely fascinating, but if you're not into this kind of thing, you might find it a little boring. So on the third page, you have detailed receipts for 2018. So this is the money that came into these funds and where the money came from. So I know we've had this conversation. I know people have had this conversation and asked this before. I've seen it in the meetings. And so I wanted to just get it on the record for everyone watching as well. So I'm not saying you don't know this, but so in the general fund, we can allocate these numbers. We can allocate these different types of resources This is just what they chose to do in 2018, and pretty much, I believe, how they have set our budget for 2019. So this is something that we need to be looking for in the future. We have general property taxes, and so you can see that they've allocated about, I'm gonna just round numbers here, but about $35,000 to the general fund. 15,000, well, 16,000 to the township assistance. General property taxes of 186,000 into the firefighting fund. I'm just sticking with general property taxes at this moment, so you can see where they've put that money. So $77,000 into that fire equipment fund that we just talked about. And then general property taxes of 119,000 into the Cume fire. Does that make sense? Y'all see that?
I was following you and I missed the last one. I don't see that.
Yeah, so on the 4th page, under Cume fire, right at the bottom there, so general property taxes of 100, and I'm rounding.
Oh, okay.
118,564, or 562.34. That's why I'm rounding.
Right.
So I think it's a little overwhelming if we do
Right,
dollars and
right.
cents. Okay. So the general fund, so this county option income tax, they used to call it that. It is now referred to as LIT, which is local income tax. So that's what your other handout is. And I have this. If you want this, you can come see that for sure. So this is local income tax, and then it's broken down into how that is distributed throughout the county. So you can see here, Wabash Township will be receiving 12 equal installments every month. And so that 88,952 is the total. That's the annual total that we receive of LIT. But I found this fascinating because you can, if you flip it over to the next, you can see, you know, what the city is getting. Lafayette Civil City, West Lafayette Civil City, and then also, you know, the Tippecanoe County Public Library. So LIT is, local income tax is really funding our public library. So anyway, but we're also on there at that 88,952. So when you look at your detailed receipts here in your annual report, that county option income tax is LIT. Okay, they just haven't updated the software, so you can't use that. So the way that we are using most of that money, you'll see, is going into the general fund. And then if I just go down here, so you have the financial institute tax, which is, that's $40, not worth talking about. The vehicle aircraft excise tax, so that is going to be from the license plate registrations. So, you know, out of that, we're receiving a little bit of money, and then that's distributed as you go through the funds. You know, you can look and see where that's going. And then we have that commercial vehicle excise tax. So that is where our money comes from.
Yeah, nice and clear.
I hope it's more clear now than it was when I started.
It is, certainly, you know, like,
Okay.
it far exceeds what we've had previously. for
Okay.
me at least.
And again, please feel free to ask questions. I'm not saying I can answer them, but I will find the answers for you. I will do my best. And then, of course, as you go through your financial report, so we have receipts, and then we would move into distributions. So the money that we spent out of each fund.
There's capital outlay again, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And that, yeah, and so, well, I just paid a bill on that today, so yes,
The capital expenditure.
yes.
So we look here to other capital outlays, total capital outlays, 5, most of the way through the page.
So I think,
5 is a capital expenditure, which is very loose, not very restrictive at all in terms of the definition.
Oh, yeah, okay.
capital
Yeah.
outlay.
Sure. Okay.
Well, I have questions, but not till page 24, so.
Oh, well, I think, well, so we're gonna have a conversation about this later. So I think it might be good if we reviewed page 8. Or at least a section of page 8. So, I'm sorry.
I was just asking where you were looking.
Oh, so I'm gonna go to general fund, personal services.
Sure.
So here, we are, I just wanted to show you where the salaries, again, this is gonna come into play here in a little bit, but I wanted to show you where the salaries are coming from. So they are coming out of that general fund and they are categorized as personal services. So you'll see Julie, and then of course each member of the board receives a salary. And then Karen, and then Teresa was the deputy. And then of course, the expenses related to that. So taxes and benefits and things will come out of that as well. And I wanted you to see the total personal services is $75,856.21 for 2018. I will not bore you with all the quill and office supplies. We won't go through those one by one, but that is next. You will see there will be supplies, and there's also township assistance. Now that's the paid to on that line. Okay, so this is not, we're not publicly disclosing individuals' information. That is who the check was paid to, so the apartment or the utility company.
I see.
Now, once you get into the firefighting fund, you'll also see personal services. I'm on the bottom of page 10, if you're with me. And so now we have 2 full-time paid firemen. That is Eddie Ward and Joseph Wade. Joseph has been here longer and has seniority, so you'll see that his salary is larger. That's why. Derek Cook is in there for, he does maintenance on our buildings. And then Mike Francis is our chief of the fire department, and he receives a salary. And then again, that Indiana Department of Workforce Development would be associated with the salaries with personal services. So that total personal services is $88,933.42. I thought we had a emergency run right before our meeting. That is why the chief and the deputy chief are probably not here. I did see the chief, and he told me he would be coming back. I actually was going to ask him a couple of questions about the next thing, so we can definitely do that if he makes it back. If not, I will get that for you for the next meeting if you have questions about that. But you'll see in here, if you look through, so I am on page 13 under services and charges. So you will see pay to, and like again on the top there you'll see Mike Francis, and then you will see other volunteer firefighters names. So then Jim is on the bottom of that page. He's our deputy chief. So I was going to ask him how those charges are assessed, because as you can see, they're different. So I don't know if that's associated with the run or what have you, but obviously there's some difference somewhere.
Like I don't know what this McNeil and Company was.
Yeah, the 34,000.
It's 35,000. I just don't know what it is.
And that is something I think he could probably answer.
Yeah.
Sure.
And again, if he comes back, I'm happy to come back to this. We can sign this at the end if you'd like to see if they do. I think I hear things happening. So, and then did you have other? Before he maybe let's just, if you do have questions, let's just wait for him, because I'm not gonna be able to answer them probably, so I think it would be good. And then again, so, this is something else that we can ask for, but capital outlays on page 15 is where I am. So there are some other things there, some names, that I don't know what that is for either, so we can definitely ask that question.
There's a fire equipment debt payment to JP Morgan as well.
Yes, and, so.
Fire equipment debt.
In case you're interested, we did pay off that JP Morgan Chase loan, and we do have a title to that vehicle, and I will be putting that in our safety deposit box.
Awesome.
So we do have a title for that.
At least there's that.
Hey. Hey.
Have a title now for the truck and paid off JP Morgan. For the.
That's his store. so
It is.
just wanna-
I saw that as well. I saw that.
Truck?
So if you have
I
a
don't
question.
care.
What is this?
Pay off JP Morgan for the truck.
$40.
But this was the truck already made. This is the missing truck? The truck with no title.
The truck that we just paid off with JP Morgan Chase, we just received the title
This was the missing.
because the loan is paid off.
No.
It
This
is not.
the missing,
It
that's
is
still
not.
missing.
It is,
That's
yes.
still missing.
Well, we are gonna talk about that later.
Okay.
For it.
I have an update.
Okay. Need more specific, the truck.
So if you go to page 22.
Is that our most recent purchase then? Previous to the one that we just made, because we
Yes.
just made a purchase.
We
Previous to
just
that
made
is
two.
this.
We just made two new purchases.
Okay,
Yeah, a pumper and a ladder truck.
Yes.
okay.
So this is.
So, I mean, I would assume it's definitely the most recently paid off. So I mean, we actually could have purchased some other piece of equipment for cash out of I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know the answer to that question.
Right.
The truck we just paid off was the one that we purchased 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay,
And then in 2018, they bought a ladder truck and a pumper truck. The pumper truck they
Yes.
paid cash for, and the ladder truck is the loan going to be coming up.
Okay.
So the title that she received was for the truck that we just paid off that we bought 4 years ago,
So
that we're currently using.
The
one-
third most recent then.
Correct. So
Okay.
we sold a truck in lieu of the one that we just paid off, or the one that we just bought, and that's the one that we're missing.
Missing the title.
So it's
Yeah,
an
that's
old,
right.
very old truck.
25 years or something.
Yes.
It's
95 was when we bought it, right? Isn't that what we said?
it's something like that, right? So it's
All these trucks, it's very.
I do have a list of the equipment that I'm happy to provide. I got that from the chief. I got a list of that. I should have brought that.
That would be
I'm-
awesome, yeah.
So I have a list of the equipment that we currently have.
Mhm.
And then I also got a list, I also got a list of what he would expect to purchase. So like a 5-year plan.
Sure.
That would be good.
Okay.
Did you have another question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there was any corresponding information, such as, but I'm gonna hold off. I think we'll talk
Okay.
about the
Okay.
missing truck. So
Okay.
I'll just wait.
Oh, yes, we are. That is on our agenda. Hopefully Michael makes it. Okay, page 22, Wabash Township. So this is a report regarding township assistance specifically.
I don't have it.
You don't have, yeah, you do. No, hold on,
Back of page 21.
hold on.
Do you really know?
Nope,
1920, then,
that one right there. Oh, no.
Oh.
that's okay.
I was having fun making fun of him.
So 22.
What happened?
I have this, and I'm closer to it. Don't, squeeze on me.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that say 22? It does, okay.
This is 22.
So this report is regarding township assistance. This is something that we have to do and that we have to upload to Gateway. So Gateway is where we report to the State Board of Accounts, otherwise known as the SBOA. It is form TA7. So I want to talk a little bit about this because I think that this report is a little confusing, or I'll put it this way, I was confused for a minute about this report. So, number one is the total number of requests for township assistance. That is people who have completed an application. That is not the number of telephone calls or walk-ins that we have had in the building. We are tracking that at this point, but we do not have that information for 2018. Now, so you can see we had 410 people complete the application for assistance, and then the 2A is the number of total recipients of township assistance. And then, of course, it goes down to 2B, that's households, so more than one person was in the house in some cases, right?
18.5%.
And then, so the next line that I want to talk about is 3, which is the total value of benefits provided to recipients of township assistance. So that is $16,416. That is direct township assistance.
Okay, when you say direct, that doesn't mean
It means the
actually
township cut a check.
It's not, we referred them to.
That is right, and I'm getting to
so-and-so
that.
services.
That is
and
right.
has a dollar amount that's arbitrary.
That is right.
Okay.
So, on this report, like Michael was talking about, now, we did not do this. This is not something that we did. But like, for example, if you go down to 9A, you will see total number receiving food assistance. Now, ours says 0, okay? But the tricky part about this is that if you were to ever go out and look at another township's report, here's the part that I think you don't quite get from just looking at this, is that, again, we don't count referrals. So when somebody comes into the office and Karen is assisting them, she refers people for services all the time. We do not take that information, write it down, keep it, and then put it into this report and attach a number to it. So the way this works in other townships, I'm going to give you an example, is someone would come in, they would ask and need food assistance, they would be given a referral to food finders, and then we would just write down an arbitrary number of what we think they may receive if they went to food finders.
Right.
There's no verification of that. We don't verify. No, I'm not saying we, because we haven't been doing that part of this, okay? But I'm saying if you saw someone else's report, there's no verification of that necessarily. There's no requirement that they follow up and make sure those that assistance was received or how much was received. It's just an arbitrary number of what we think they may have received.
And that's not
Okay.
this total value?
That would be on 9A if we did it.
So what's the 10 II and 10 3 I's?
Total, 3 I's, 10 3 I's.
At the very bottom of page 22.
Value of all food
$7,600.
assistance provided. So that would be, so we did keep that number. Why don't we
It
have that?
seems like it because
Wait,
it's
why-
saying-
total
Yeah.
number receiving food assistance. That shouldn't be 0, should it? Oh, we did keep that number. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So total number receiving food assistance
76.
would be direct assistance, wouldn't it?
Which seems to be an
I
assumption
apologize.
of
Of
$100.
100.
So
per individual.
$100 per individual is what we've been counting. My fault on that. So that's good, because that's my point.
Is that
We did
something-
not cut a check for that $7,600,
Right.
just to be clear. That is a number that we think they may have received.
Is $100 about what you've seen as the guess, if you will, or the, I guess, variable almost, just using that as a fixed number, 100 for
Food pantry.
individuals?
I cannot answer that at all.
Because
I
I
haven't,
look at other
I haven't
townships, we'll see what they
seen.
use as their like standard, and I'm just curious if that's typical.
I wonder what other townships do use.
Okay.
Like Fairfield's.
I have not checked
Okay.
other townships, but I also, and more importantly, I've had conversations with Katie Bunder at Food Finders, and we've talked about some different things, some different ways that we might be able to work with Food Finders, but we did not have the conversation of what the average household receives when
No,
they
that's
go
fine.
in.
I mean, I wouldn't, I guess,
Well, we could.
I'm talking about it from a different angle. I'm saying if we look at the reports from, say,
Other
Fairfield
townships.
Township,
Yeah.
yeah, to see what they're doing, if they have 7,600.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've not done that,
Okay, no, that's fine.
but we
I was just
could.
curious if you had.
Yeah, we definitely could.
I would be interested in trying to find out what better sources for that number. I think those are still important numbers to track, though. I mean,
I'm not saying they aren't.
Yeah, LTHC does the
I'm
same
sorry, I
thing.
misspoke earlier, but yeah, no, I'm not saying they aren't.
but I would say the justification for $100, that's pretty steep. I mean, I went to a food pantry yesterday, and when all was said and done, it was probably $10. Now, maybe you go
the whole
10
year
times,
or whatever,
and that's
yeah.
why it averages into 100, and that's why they're using that number. But
Right.
I guess that's where I was going, is that we could probably find out from food finders what
Right.
the average home is receiving
Use their data.
and use their data to, that's where I was going with that. So just to go back, the clarification that I wanted to make is when you see things like that, that $7,600 was not a check cut from the township.
yeah.
And I didn't understand that, so I just put that out there.
So the total value of benefits provided for housing assistance, non-township sources. I'm curious about that $385. It's on page 22, it's in the box just above, it's 8II. So with the township food assistance outside of the township, that makes sense because we don't have food pantries in the township. But I'm curious.
Oh, yeah. Well, there might be other housing assistance that we could refer out, right? Like a HUD application or a income-based home
Sure.
housing, right? Things like that. So yes, again, that $385 would not be township dollars.
Yeah.
Right, we're putting more or less maybe an estimation of an outside resource helping that individual.
Correct. So in order to see the checks we cut for housing, you have to look at 8I.
Mhm.
So $14,995 in
Right.
2018 is what we paid in housing assistance. And then that is the end of that.
I have a question on page 24.
24, go ahead.
And I'll actually ask you if you would know.
Okay.
Total number of nights emergency shelter provided to the homeless. Do you know what that means? Should we have somebody stay here when they needed to? Is that what it is? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I don't think so.
Which number is
Was there a number in there?
There is. It says
15.
5.
15A.
Oh, yes.
Okay, probably
15A.
refer to Salvation Army for emergency shelter services, or it was probably a referral to,
So it was a referral though, probably.
yes.
Yes.
Because we don't have any
Right.
Now-
emergency housing.
That is my question. I know I sent you the random text.
You
At one
did.
time, but I have a client who
A
is
question about.
pretty much dying in the snow right now and can't get housing.
Right.
And I just wonder, like, can we, I mean, this is a giant building, you know, I mean.
Well, I think, Michael, so.
I was
if I
like,
could-
if it's terrible weather, can't we just say township
Can I interject real quick?
trustees opening up the.
That's an emergency warming shelter. That's what that is, and many communities do it, and they
Yeah.
work with local police. So when a community member happens upon someone like this or a professional, they can call a police officer to get them to one of those shelters.
Yeah.
They only open it up during parts of the year because
Right,
capacity is.
my specific client is banned from that specific
I see.
emergency warming shelter, and there's only one person in the community that can lift that ban, and I'm waiting on a phone call.
Well, I'm saying that we could do something similar. Is all
Yeah,
my
if
point
we
is,
could.
is that there's a
I
structure
thought,
for that.
okay, I wondered if that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the fire department in many communities is the,
In some, they work with it. I don't know that
Okay,
they operate as the
okay.
housing.
I just want to bring that up as
Okay.
a little
Yeah.
perk, a little bug, because, I mean, you know,
I feel you.
yeah, it's cold out there.
Yeah.
It is. So that is that.
Can I ask one?
Yes.
Or point something out, quick math. So the total number of requests for township assistance were 410.
Mhm.
And if you look at the total number of households that received,
Yes,
that's 45, that's 11%.
yes.
Is
Well,
Is that
no, well, hold on a second. So again, I was not here in 2018.
No, I know.
I know I keep saying that.
But do you know if that's typical?
What's the question?
I could not answer that. I would want, I mean, I have that report, so I have this, so on Gateway, in case you want to go out and look at this information yourself, and I can put a link in the video to Gateway. This is all public information. I have downloaded a report of all of the townships in the state. There are like 1,004 of them or whatever. And I looked through their, and so for the size of our township, so I looked at Bloomington, I looked at Anderson, Indiana, Evansville, Terre Haute, South Bend, and I looked at other townships who would have this like similar population, maybe maybe a little bit bigger, but a city and a township with like fire services and such. We are on the very bottom of that list for township assistance.
Right.
We percentage-wise, it was like the third from the bottom. So I can't answer, and I won't even get into speculating. All I can tell you is that moving forward, I will definitely be able to answer your questions about why we would have applications being denied. Now, I said they turned in an application. I certainly didn't say that they showed back up, right? So I didn't say that the application was complete or they had all the information that's required in our standards. So I don't have, what I cannot tell you, and what I do not have at this point, but I will have for 2019, is a list of denial reasons. Now, Karen, if we have that, correct me. I have not seen that.
I can tell you last year there were 60 appointments and I think 56 were accepted, so we only had 4 denials. So I don't know about that top number, whether that was just people who were calling that we're finding out that she added. I'm not really sure, but I can tell you that there were 60 appointments.
60 appointments.
Okay. So maybe that 410 is high, or it's not really the total number of files.
Well, it's applications.
It's
turned in, is
applications.
that right? Yeah.
It's the right, isn't it? That's what it should be. So I looked
I didn't fill out
into
the report.
Right.
All I can do is tell you how many
Right.
interviews that I had,
right.
and it was 60.
And all I can tell you is that that's what that number is supposed to be.
Right.
So I also can't. So maybe she tracked phone calls or something. I cannot tell you that is accurate.
Right.
But we will have information for you in the end of this year. Okay, anything else?
No, Mike Francis is here if you want to ask him those questions.
Hey, okay.
Hey! How'd it go?
Real quick, Jennifer, I have to go because I have another thing.
Sure.
But I did not find any of that information on the caps.
Okay, thank you so much for looking. Thank you, Karen.
Is that your plan to keep us away from the meetings, is have runs right during the meeting?
Okay. So if I could.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, you're okay.
Okay. Here is this because we just have a couple questions.
Okay.
So on page if anybody else knows, holler out. Okay, I found it. Okay. Number 13, page 13.
Got it?
We are talking about the firefighting fund services and charges. So this is our 2018 annual report. As I mentioned earlier, I did not create this report.
Okay.
And so, you know, we're just trying to clarify a couple of things.
Mhm.
So we see here that, and I believe this is true, that the firemen and women are receiving payment, but there are different amounts here. Can you explain how they're paid?
Correct. So the easiest way that I can explain that is by Indiana law, volunteer firemen are due car and clothing allotment.
Car and clothing.
It's got, yeah, by statute, it's car and clothing allotment.
Okay.
So what we do is a formula based on if you're EMT or first responder on the rescue squad or firefighter only. And with that formula and the amount of runs, obviously the more runs you make, the more money you earn at the end of the year for your car and clothing allotment. And so I believe it was 27,000 last year, and that was divided into the number of runs and then the number of people. So,
So total services and charges is on page 15. It's 101,650. So,
But that's more than
like
just
for
people.
instance, we have a McNeil and Company.
that is insurance.
So the 35,000, I'm rounding, 34, 555, 56, 37 is our insurance for the firehouse. Don't want to say. Okay.
I just know that Johnson and Williamson, you'll see there on page 14, like maybe 1, 2 up. That is our insurance carrier. I do know that.
Johnson and Williamson. Okay.
And you said McNeil,
McNeil.
and what page was that?
13,
That's 13.
kind of in the middle.
34,000 probably stands out.
Yep, McNeil and Company, that's insurance.
Okay.
Yep.
But we don't know insurance for what. Okay. Okay.
It
Okay.
would,
That's all right. I can definitely look that up.
so, the Williamson and Johnson is the company out of Crawfordsville. They take care of our equipment, workers' comp, I believe also we report to them. And then the larger company, McNeil, would be probably for the blanket over all the station and equipment. So they're the larger company, and Johnson and Williamson is the local provider.
So I have another question, and it's on page 14.
Oh.
So I see out of here, we have Indiana, American Water, and Vectren.
Yep.
But so I know that those are typically categorized under utilities.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea why those might be out of services?
No.
Okay.
I haven't got it.
And there's a Duke Energy.
Yeah.
Do you know what CERES Solutions is?
Series Solutions, so they're a local petroleum vendor. They
Okay.
put the diesel fuel in this tank back here in the back, and that would be the diesel fuel for our fire trucks.
Okay.
It's called Series Solutions. They come
Okay.
probably, it depends how busy we are, but they come once a month and fill up that tank in the back. Diesel fuel.
So, my guess is those are not categorized correctly.
I mean, it's a place to put them.
So, if I can show you, maybe they are. Oh, I don't see, hold on. Where is-
It seems all the utility billings and such are in here. Liberty Mutual. Even Dr. Moody.
You know what, I would have to go, I guess, no, I don't wanna say that, because I would have to go and look, because, we have a utilities, and that might be in that services and charges
I
fund.
I see.
So,
Duke Energy would be your electric.
yes,
American Water, Indiana American is your water here at Station 1.
Subaru.
American Suburban Utilities is sewage here at Station 1.
cause I don't see utilities is why I'm saying that, so that very well could be under services and charges, and that's why I'm thinking that that's wrong, so,
Subcategory.
yeah, so
And
that's
then
probably
it's
right.
Insurance someplace else, but still under services and charges
Yeah.
umbrella.
Yes, yes.
Wex Bank, do we know?
Yeah, I just got that today. That is our fuel.
Wax bank?
So the bank is because we have a fuel account. So that is our credit. That's our, like, a charge card.
Okay.
So.
It's down here at Family Pantry.
It is specifically at Family Pantry. So they will take the trucks down and gas them up. They will get a receipt.
I see.
And then we receive the invoice, match the receipt, and then of course pay the bill.
Yeah, like the little trucks that just take gas like your car. That's where we go to get gasoline.
I got you. Nice.
That is your 2018 annual report.
Yes.
Do we want any public comment on that?
Yep, we should,
I think so.
if wanted public.
Sean, Mike, any comment on that?
No, I'm glad I could answer those.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Mike.
Yeah,
You're
thank
welcome.
you. I'd like to make a motion then that we approve it.
No, we have a date deadline, is that right?
We do.
And
This
then-
is our last board meeting. Before, now we could schedule another one. It is March 1st. So if you do not sign it tonight, we will be meeting again before March 1st.
My only concern is that this is our first time seeing the corrected proposal and the first time you felt comfortable really explaining it and sharing it, frankly, because it's something you now can understand and you reconcile with yourself.
Better.
Well, better, right, and it's a growing process, obviously, but I feel more comfortable if we tabled it, frankly, and scheduled another meeting. And that may be a little arduous, and maybe even be a little bit much, but I think that'd be the proper thing.
That's up to you guys.
My reading
Yeah.
of the dates is that we have to do it before February 19th,
February 19th.
which will be really hard for me, just so you know. My schedule is getting really packed.
Well, as long as we
But
have
it can
a
be
quorum,
done, you know, yeah.
and if you have any problems, you can always
Mhm.
send us information.
That is true.
My read is that the board has to approve it by February 19th. My guess is then you have to upload an approved version by March 1st.
Correct.
So that's
Well,
just so that
the
those-
March 1st
I see.
is, yes, that is the State Board of Accounts. has to
Do we have to
it.
make a motion to table it then? Is that something you make a motion for?
Yeah, and then you
Table
vote.
it.
Okay.
So I'll
You don't
make a
have to
motion
vote with
table
them.
it.
Alright.
Okay. I will second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, there are none opposed. Motion passes unanimously.
Do you want to schedule that now,
We
Yes.
might as
We have
well-
to, yeah, at some point.
so we don't forget?
Yeah, might as well. I don't have my phone, so you'll have to text me yet.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. This was moved by Brendan.
So I was wrong last time. We did not have to notify the public for 2 whole weeks because there are only specific meetings that we have to do that.
I wondered, that's
Which
awesome.
one of them, this is not one of them, from my understanding. So you could meet tomorrow if you wanted to,
Theoretically,
but,
sure.
I would recommend that if we're going to have another meeting, that we do it close to the deadline, because that will give me time. I mean, if there are other things that come up,
Right.
So we don't have to have an
that's
additional.
correct. That's additional meeting.
Right.
That's correct.
Well, how, just as
So-
a shot in the dark, February 12th, it's a week before the February 19th. Beth, I guess I'm mostly asking about your schedule. No, that's fine, I know you're getting there. I'll just keep talking about time.
12th is okay, I think.
So I would propose
12th is okay.
we're meeting on February 12th, Tuesday, February 12th at 6 p.m.
I also don't have my phone, so you get no input from me. I have no idea if I'll be here.
Okay.
But I will do what I can to be present, for sure.
All right.
I don't think you need to,
No, I don't think, there are no motions with that.
I don't think so.
Could do, but don't really have to.
Oh, okay.
It's not like an official act or anything, because we don't have to notify. so
All right.
there's no official act.
I will put it out though. Okay, next on our agenda, number 2, resolution 2019 salaries of township officers and employees. So what I have for you here today, I only have one copy of this, but I'll pass this around. So, when I went through the records that I could find, and I went through Gateway and what had been uploaded, and all of the meeting minutes for the entire year of 2018, I could not find the resolution to establish salaries of the township officers and employees for 2019. I have been told that that was done and it was approved by the board, but we have no proof of that. And we have nothing to submit to the state. So what I brought for you tonight is 2018, so that you can look at last year's resolution. And then I have a new proposal for you this evening. So I'll go ahead.
Now, wasn't,
I do have copies of
would
that.
a new proposal that's different, is that gonna mess up things if the other one was accepted legally? You know what I mean?
No, we're allowed to change this.
Oh, okay.
And it is different, frankly. It would be different because we do not have, I'm combining 3 positions into 2. So I do have a copy, 1 copy for the public, if you want that, or you want that. So, all right, so on here, again, this is officers and employees. I only have 1 copy.
Thank you.
So the township trustee, I'm proposing $43,218. Deputy township trustee, and again, that would be Mike Childress, $15,500. And then the board members, $2,500, which is what was in 18. I have no idea if that was right. So I'll tell you this, in the proposed and accepted budget by the state, these are the numbers.
Right.
And so these numbers have not changed from our budget, okay? So $2,500 was allocated in the budget. So I feel very comfortable with that number, but I can't tell you what the other resolution said. But with that, I feel comfortable it was $2,500. And then of course the township secretary, so as I said, Karen is leaving, but we do need to pay her for the month of January.
Right.
So that money is in here. Then moving down to the fire department, so we have the fire chief at $12,360. Again, I want to just say that that number and the following 2 numbers were in the proposed budget and the accepted budget. So so I also feel comfortable with these numbers. And then the firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 positions. So you'll see that those raised pretty significantly from 2018. From my understanding, and we can talk to the chief about this, but well, and Michael, because you were there. It was proposed that they allot $10,000 a piece for health insurance benefits. I did a little bit of research around health insurance benefits, just out of curiosity. Like I wanted to know, like, why aren't we receiving county benefits, and you know, what do other townships doing? So I talked to Fairfield. I talked to County Councilor Lisa Dolam about their benefits. And from what I understand from her, it was like $7,000 per person per month or something that they're expending for health insurance at the county level. So that, it was some ridiculous amount. Don't quote me on that, but it was really high. And so then I talked to Talitha Coles, the Fairfield Township trustee, and she is offering benefits in her office. They have a group plan with a company, with a private company insurer, and so they do offer benefits. Now, I will tell you, in her office, of course, not only is she a full-time employee, but then she has like 3 other full-time employees. Versus in our office, as you can see, this is a part-time position. So this deputy township trustee position is going to be about 16 hours a week. Obviously it's salary, so whatever it takes to get the job done. But our township hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to noon. Karen stays if she needs to, but I wouldn't say that it ever exceeds 20 hours a week. So to give you an idea of why The previous board and trustee thought that that was not an affordable option to get a private policy. I don't know if they went, I don't know if they went and looked at it. I don't have any of that information. That could be why they chose.
But keeping these two firefighters happy either way, I think is the point with the 10,000.
Yeah, so I did a little research too, and I truly appreciate you guys' discussion and consideration of this. So in 2018, their salaries respectively were $38,008, $38,800, and $32,700 with no benefits, folks. We had, one of them is actually a certified paramedic, and the other one is a certified EMT with an instructor certification. So that's what you're dealing with. So I did a little research. Lafayette Fire. So to compare firefighters to firefighters, firefighter one has actually been on 6 years. A 5-year firefighter for Lafayette would make $62,100 plus full benefits, and in West Lafayette would make $60,169.72 plus $1,500 a year clothing allotment and full benefits. So that's exactly why we started that discussion. It's actually
Could be 62,000, is that what you said?
60,169 for a 5-year in West Lafayette, plus $1,500 clothing allowance. So this is just a way to allow them the opportunity to buy insurance for their families because they've not had that opportunity. I don't know, other than the insurance was going to be extremely expensive for the township, that's kind of why they just wanted to give them the lump sum and they can buy insurance for them and their families on their own.
Well, and Julie, the past trustee, had county benefits through her husband, who was a commissioner.
That's right.
And then, like I said, the other 2 people working in the office were both under 20 hours a week. So,
Yeah.
so you're looking at a policy for,
Yeah.
you were looking at a policy for 2 people. Now it would be more,
Right.
but, I mean, we would be looking at a policy for 4 people. So,
I guess I would like to see salary comps for more places because this does seem really low and I think it just kind of further justifies the increase.
well, I will tell you this, we cannot run payroll until we approve these. And
So nobody gets
payroll
paid.
is due.
I see.
And this is
like
what
the
was
township
in our
shutdown.
budget, and this is
So
what
that's
the
what it is.
state approved. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you're not the board. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that would be the consequences if we do not approve this evening.
How about for next year?
Well, oh yeah, we can definitely have further
Fuller
conversation.
panel of comps.
Oh,
I would-
sure.
I actually, Jennifer and I spoke about that last week. I had actually, the last 4 years, had made a report, a narrative about other departments our size in Indiana and what kind of budget they had, how many paid firemen they had, and salaries and stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't keep a copy, and I don't know where that went to. I think that is a great idea. We need to work on that this year, just to kind of show where we need to be.
And we also need to communicate to the firemen that even though there's been a change, we're going to take care of them because they take care of the community.
Yeah.
I think that money is a good way of, talks is a good way of taking care of them.
I do appreciate that, and I know they do appreciate, because they are 2 highly skilled firefighters and regarded in Tippecanoe County. They teach a lot of classes, and it just, your consideration on this matter tonight just means a whole heck of a lot to them, and our whole staff.
Well, I mean, at minimum, you have to keep good people. Right?
Oh, yes.
Or then the quality of the fire protection that we're providing goes down drastically.
And not that I need to say this, but I would like to say it on the record. I did independently verify the pay for West Lafayette firefighters. And I concur with Mike that those are the numbers.
Sure.
So I don't know if that helps you, but you have confirmation for me that I had that conversation.
Is there any more public discussion on this resolution? Do we have any more discussion?
Just, not this per se, but are there funds set aside somewhere to support continuing education that has to be done for paramedics that have to get recertified?
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
We do
Okay,
that.
so they're covered for that?
That is a huge, that'd be another discussion, but yes, we do, we have trainings every month
Uh-huh.
towards the EMT and continuing education for rescue squad, yes.
Mhm. Good. Because sometimes they have to pay out of pocket for those things, and it gets expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
The short answer is yes, and I'll go into.
Got it.
I can
Okay.
add to that later.
Questions? More discussion?
Oh, I guess, I'm
It's
sorry.
not up to me.
I'm in pain.
Yeah.
The Julie Byers last year was 33,
Yes.
and now it's 43?
Yes.
Is that the additional insurance bump there too, or is that?
No. We,
That was the combination of.
that was the combination of the position. So in the past, the deputy trustee basically did all of the bill payment, payroll, and then reconciliation of the bank statement, and then helped create the financial reports. So out of that, Michael, the new deputy trustee, will be doing a very small portion of that. So what will happen, and we'll go through this again because now that we've hired someone, we'll need to go through internal protocols, and we will write internal protocols. That's required of us to do. So what he will be doing, his portion of that job is very small, is the short answer. So he will be scanning in the bills, I will be looking at them, I will be verifying them, well, and also with the chief, of course, for fire. But we will be verifying those bills, and then he will be doing 4 clicks in the software to print a check, right? And then I will do the reconciliation, I will do all the financial reports, I will be the one responsible for doing all of that. So again, this is what was in the budget that was approved, and also not fully knowing everything that will be required of this job. That is why these are allocated the way that they are. Next year you might see something very different. So part of this is because I can only guess at the time required to do these things, but I did absorb most of the pay that was going to Teresa because, like I said, I'll be doing 85% of that job. So that's why that is distributed. And you'll see, I gave, well, you can see that I gave Michael more pay than either of the other 2 people were receiving because he will be doing a little bit more of that job. So that's how I distributed that money.
With all of the considerations of uncertainty regarding these matters, I think that it is a really strong, good faith move to adopt this as we found it essentially, which is what most townships around the state will be doing, obviously, because these things were adopted before they took office. So under that auspices, I would like to move to pass this resolution establishing salaries of township officers and employees.
Second.
Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So you probably have one that needs signed. And I have, well, or you can sign 2 of those. They're exactly the same.
Yeah.
That one is exactly the same. Okay. Oh, go the other way. Oh. There is another one. Okay.
I know, yeah.
Adoption of Township Assistance Standards, number C.
I'd like to make a motion we adopt the township assistance
Oh.
standards.
You don't even have to have these Michael's like, I'm so sick.
I'm so sick.
I'll second his motion on the table.
What is,
Oh, I
Do we
got
also
all
need to
this
sign that?
stuff.
Take a chair.
Yeah,
Had
one
all
copy
this
goes to her. and one's
conversation
here.
Yeah, I
about
signed that.
it.
Did you roll
So
play
I
in the
was-
shower?
So
where's the other one to sign?
if you don't mind, can I make one?
No, go.
Can I make one
Alice,
comment? I just want to make one comment, okay? So Karen had conversation with Bill Jones, and I want you to know that he officially said that he did intend for our township to be 100%. But also,
Oh, okay.
but
I
also,
For the
I want
guidelines
you
to
to
clarify.
know that his statement to me also still stands. So his 100% recommendation was to small rural townships. And I just want you to know, as the largest township in the county, we called over, so there's a couple things here. So we called Fairfield Township, and they are just a little bit smaller than us in population, and they have the same poverty level as we do. Karen called over today to confirm that Fairfield does use 150%. Okay, that is the standard for large city-based townships. And also, I have copies for you.
Take one.
Oh. Well, that's all three of them. So that's the public as well.
Oh, okay, I see. This is
And
for you.
your best.
This is for you. Yep, that is.
Okay, so one change from what I told you before. So I gave you, this is all I could find on the internet when I looked at the federal poverty guidelines. I want you to know I printed this out. And all they had at that time was 2018, okay? So if you see down here, monthly 2018 poverty guidelines for the 48 United States, 150% is what I have highlighted here, but that is what I had Karen list. So I have the new and old standards for all of you, which you can just take home because I have them in a public copy.
Is this the?
That is the old that is
Okay.
marked up,
I gotcha.
and the new that is underneath. However, we may make one small change to the new tonight based off of this. So when she called Fairfield, Fairfield is using the 2019 150% poverty guidelines, which I did not have a hold of. So as I have given to you, it's got Fairfield written on it.
Right.
Next to what we had originally provided to you is the monthly gross income. And then on the left, if I know right from left, they do have caps on apartments.
Caps on apartments.
They have on rent. So they have rent caps that they use. Now, if you remember correctly from our last conversation, we also had a cap and I recommended that we remove it. So I have seen very few people, but the people that have come in to receive rental assistance have all owed over the cap. So Karen went through and looked through the Indiana Township Association recommended guidelines, and there was nothing about caps. So this was, from what I can tell, created locally by Bill Jones.
Right.
I am still recommending to you, the board, that we do not have caps, rental caps. And again, if we don't have rental caps, I want you to know that it is at the discretion of the trustees. So what I'm saying by that is, let's say one person came in for assistance and they lived in a 4-bedroom apartment and they were living large, right? We don't have to pay everything that they owe if they're being irresponsible. But if we put, so you'll see they have caps on here, $579 with utilities for an efficiency, $652 for a 1-bedroom apartment with utilities.
That's very little.
I cannot say this because I just got this today. Because we've been having conversations throughout the week, but we were only able to reach this, the Fairfield office today and verify this. I can't tell you like what the average is in West Lafayette. And again, I would propose that we trust the judgment of the trustee to be able to help people according to their situation and not based off some rando made up numbers. Because we don't know what these are.
I would prefer that.
I would agree.
And, I mean, we have a mayor in West Lafayette who says that as long as rent prices stay below that of the West Loop in Chicago, then we'll be okay. And as long as that's the paradigm, I don't think we can in good faith put those caps in place, so.
And so far, just to let you know, the people that have come in, I asked Karen if things were different already, and she said yes, they're very different. So we're following up with people. So for instance, we've had people come in who are, you know, trying to sublease their apartment because they know that they can't afford their apartment, and we're helping them. They're coming in, we're helping them write Craigslist ads, we're helping them file HUD applications, we're having them go get stuff and they're bringing it back, and we're helping them through the hurdle to solve the root of the problem so that they don't find themselves next month in the same situation.
Right, help them before they get too far deep.
Yes.
Right.
So. So I would propose that, or my proposal is that we go with the 2019 federal income poverty guidelines at 150% and do not have caps.
Well, with that comment, we still have a seconded motion on the floor. And so, Mike, do you want to call for that?
Well, do we have any public comment on it, I guess?
I don't have anything.
No? That was one thing that we learned in the training, is that public comment after it actually gives the public the chance to change the stuff.
Yes,
rather than-
yes.
Of course.
And just to re-clarify, the current document that we have does not have caps, correct? For rental.
No, it does. Our current standards have a cap of $705, $690, and then it was scratched out, and it was, I don't know where this came from either. Karen is
Can
on
you
here.
cite that in the current?
That is on, under basic needs. What page is that? So 1, 2, well, there's no page numbers.
No, just section numbers.
3, basic needs, 6?
Section 6.
No, it's not. Wait a second, this is, hold on, I need to take this and put this, I have this in the wrong.
No, it just has a section
Basic
titled.
needs.
So 11. No, whoa. Wait,
Yes,
that's the-
11, you're right,
That's odd.
because it's,
It's
yes.
very
This
odd.
is the one that we put notes in.
Maybe if I had it folded, it would be easier to tell where it is. Did you find it?
I mean, I have the original that we had.
The
last.
Yeah, well, you are, I also gave you a highlighted version. You should have,
Needs.
Well, it
Yep.
is, she has it here.
oh,
I've
But
got
she's done, okay.
basic need 11, yes?
yes, basic needs, 11B.
I forgot that there was a change I wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
Where's,
okay, I see.
where, I don't see.
So
something
it's
like that.
written, it's crossed out on the very bottom.
Mhm.
Well, and also, can I also just say,
It just says remove
it's thrown onto something that's not related as well. So
Right.
maximum allowable for rent for 2018 is $690, is not related to B. So I'm just,
I have no
I
idea.
remember you going over that, but I
Yeah,
did not
I've-
see it.
I've
We
got the-
neither
Neither
of
of us
us
have
You've got the.
You
edited
guys
version
have
and
the-
we got
Oh,
the
this is-
original.
no, you have both. You have both. The first one that you received should have been, did you not get both? You should have received both.
I have
made-
two of the
Yes.
same.
No, that's the old one. That's the new one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So your point is to keep the
I
version
see
that you
it,
have.
and I
there.
have it. Yeah, I see it.
My recommendation,
Is to
so,
remove that.
is to, yes,
So in our
that's what I was-
proposed
and it is
guidelines,
not
that's what we've
in
got.
the
Exactly.
new one.
No, it is
That's
not.
what I wanted.
Confirms, I
The
could
new
not find
one.
it.
is not in the new one.
Okay.
Michael, you had a question.
Well, I have two questions. One, I guess, is for you, Mike. Have you ever seen this office ever, like, be used, this building ever be used as an emergency shelter during really inclement weather?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we have. What happens is the manufactured home community, if they see inclement weather, they'll come over.
Okay.
The only thing that that does is it creates a huge liability for
Yeah.
us in the township, because what happens when we get inclement weather? We get a bunch of calls. So we have to make a decision. Do we go to respond to the emergency with our personnel, or do we have to keep somebody back to babysit? And
And how do you do security with that?
yeah, security is a huge issue. So
Sheriff's
we've,
office.
when the fire station was first built, we would have numerous people come over. But we tried to really work with the manufacturing community and try to relay that to the management that, hey, it's your responsibility, whether it's a emergency shelter or communicate that they need to stay, you know, shelter in place, whatever. But that's not really our township's responsibility. This building is available and we will not deny anybody.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we've tried to work with.
Maybe in the future, having a plan for something like that. I like that.
We will not turn anybody away.
Yeah.
If they want to come in and use this shelter, use the restrooms, they're absolutely
And then I
able
guess-
to do that. We just have to make a decision. Do we keep a couple people back for security and?
Right, when you're out doing runs.
When we're, yeah. So it's a fine line we have to work
Then,
with.
this, I guess, thank you.
I'm willing to come in and volunteer as well, so
Yeah.
on the record, just so you know.
I could too. I was just thinking that past
Yeah, I-
storm, I thought she should just do a PSA and say anyone that has trouble can come here, but I'm like, I don't know about liability or anything like that. And
You have to be very-
Well, we have liability insurance that covers us in that scenario.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
And other communities that do this do
Right.
work with their local police departments and sheriffs, like I mentioned earlier, not
Yeah.
just to get the people off the streets, but I think there could be a relationship for other things too, like watching if our entire staff needs to head out and respond to a fire, which happens in the winter. So.
The second thing was under basic needs, the trustee does not purchase food for anyone currently receiving food stamps. I don't like that.
Wait, I'm sorry, where is that?
Under basic
Right there,
needs,
under
the
11
trust, it's
basic
A.
needs. It's
Yeah.
A instead of B. We're talking about B. I'm not sure, but it's.
You know
this is
what?
my-
I don't know where that comes from. I'm not sure that that's not,
Because some people receive food stamps and get $6.
Also, some people may not be receiving food stamps, but be in the SNAP program by the end of February, that may be the case.
But does the
but
trustee purchase
also,
food?
we don't.
We
That's
refer-
Yeah, you can
we
purchase
ref-
groceries.
But we would prefer.
For,
Could.
Well, but we also do purchase groceries. Other townships purchase
Yeah.
people's groceries.
so if you look at, where is it? So it is, oh, I hate that this doesn't have pages on it. 1, 2, 3,
That's our
4,
next change.
Right? So under household income, that would be,
Household income, 9.
that doesn't make any,
Household
it is,
income.
but why are these? Okay, these are also not, okay. They're not numbered correctly either, I just noticed that. All right, so, under household income, second page, bottom, the township may require the, blah, blah, blah. So number C there is what I'm going towards, okay?
Wait.
So this is essential utility services, and then if you look C, D, E, okay, household essentials. Necessary supplies such as minimal household furnishings, utensils, and appliances.
Mhm.
So these are the things that we help people with.
I guess my point is, I
So
don't like the
CD.
wording either, but I don't think that we're providing food directly, so
We have
And-
not been.
in an interest, just to
Well-
kind of get this approved and maybe mark it, because it sounds a little negative, as something to change later we could do, but.
Or
for
also,
now.
you could just vow to not care about that, essentially.
We can approve the changes tonight. I can look into this further. I can get better answers for you on that specifically, and then we can make additional changes.
All right,
We can change this as much as we want.
well, is there any other commentary on the,
But also, can I
I'm
just throw this out there?
hesitant,
If you look at A, food, the trustee does not purchase food for anyone currently receiving food stamps. The obvious implication is that you purchase it for people who do not receive food stamps. That's my point.
I can also tell you, there's nothing cited there. There's no
Right.
statute cited.
No code at all.
So, I mean, you're the board, and if you want to take that, I just don't have the info. I've just not looked into that specifically.
Right.
So, I don't,
I'd be okay with just passing as it goes now, I mean,
again, I can come right back to this the next time we meet if that's
Right.
something that is important to you.
Well, I think it's exceptionally important. I'm glad you brought it up. Like, that was a really good, really solid point. I really don't love that it's in there and in the midst of the shutdown. Obviously, I think that's a mistake to send that message. However, we will be meeting in the next weeks, and I know that you'll.
And we do have food resources, right? There are multiple places that we can assist people with getting food. I can
No, but
promise
on
you
this
that there
side of
will
the
not
river.
be anybody that walks into this building starving that leaves without
But again, not many of them are
assistance,
on this side of the river, and accessibility is a thing. But
No,
I
I
know we
mean,
have things
no,
like-
I mean, I can make an order. I
Okay.
can make an order at Food Finders, go and pick it up and bring it back to the township. I can even deliver it if I have to.
Okay.
So, I'm just saying, no one is going to go hungry because of that statement.
Okay, and that's what I
Yes.
want to hear, because
Yes.
You'll have the ability to make that call.
I do.
Okay.
And well, and I'm saying furthermore, we can, I mean, there are other things that we could do, right?
Right.
We could help, we could pay someone's utility bill so that they can afford groceries. We
That's
could-
right.
Right, like, so, and I can, again, there are resources in this community where there is food available. So I would not recommend that if I thought that that was going to adversely affect one of our recipients.
Excellent. Well, then,
Does that
there's still
make
that
sense?
motion on the table. So
Yeah.
if you want to call for the vote, Wayne?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Of passing the,
Passing it as is?
yes,
We have a second?
Okay, I say aye.
okay. So it has
In the
passed the board
motion, it
unanimously.
has
Has-
passed.
Okay,
Yeah, we motioned.
You
and
said
it passed.
second, you should say aye.
She meant aye.
okay.
So- Oh, I'm sorry. I
That's
thought we
okay.
needed to vote on it.
Truck title, I'm gonna get through the rest of this pretty quick here.
No problem.
So, as we discussed before, we are missing a truck title. I want you
Yes.
to know that, I got a phone call, from a woman at the, original manufacturer of the truck. And so I understand what Julie did now. I didn't quite understand it before, but she had, sent in a check, I think I told you, and paperwork, and it was returned from the, Bureau of Motor Vehicles, okay? And we were denied a title because, we did not have, there was no title in the system, and they had no original certificate of origin. We needed that letter to prove that there was never a title that was registered with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles in order to get an original certificate of origin, which we now have for our truck. So.
Wait, we now have which?
We now have, which now, we can send in
Awesome.
the same paperwork, with our original certificate of origin without a court order
Okay.
and get a first title created for our truck.
For our 2020-year-old baby.
So.
Bring its tanker up and be sold to
We
someone else.
have our certificate of origin,
That's incredible.
and
That's
that
great.
was done by, well, it was put in place, he didn't totally know that he had fixed the problem, but one of our firefighters totally fixed that problem.
That's great.
Okay, moving on. Designee. So I just wanted to give you this statute in case you wanted to read it so that you would know what it is. I have a public copy. This is, we talked about this, this is a designation of alternate to perform executive duties and functions. So within 30 days after taking office, the executive shall designate a person who shall perform the executive's duties, whether the executive is incapable of performing the executive functions because the executive, 1, is absent from the township, or 2, becomes incapacitated upon my death. That's a good thought right there. The executive shall give notice of the designation to the chairman of the township legislative body. The county sheriff and any other person that the executive chooses. The designee shall have all the powers of the executive. The executive is responsible for all acts of the designee, and the executive may change the designee under this section at any time. B, the designee shall perform the executive duties until 1, the executive is no longer absent from the township, or 2, an acting executive is appointed by the county executive under section 16 of this chapter. And then, so I wanted you all to know that that will be Cinnamon Gallatin. And I will get you her emergency contact information, and I will also be providing that to the sheriff. So right now, and I didn't know this, but right now, we have an emergency number listed on the door. So if someone comes to the township, and we are not here and they deem that it is an emergency, we have the sheriff's number listed and the sheriff has my cell phone. So, that is how someone will reach me in an emergency, and that information will also be updated with Cinnamon in case I am incapacitated or outside of the township.
All right.
Okay. Wabash Fire Department meeting, I just wanted to let you know that I attended that business meeting, and that they discussed the fundraiser, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention. That there will be a pancake breakfast again this year, and I just wanted to encourage all of us to attend and, you know,
Eat pancakes.
And eat pancakes, but also if we wanted to volunteer or assist in those efforts. I also found out that the proceeds from that pancake breakfast are actually the fund for the Firefighters Association. So the firefighters meet regularly, monthly, at that business meeting and discuss their budget and make, you know, approvals of how they're gonna spend that money, but that is where the pancake breakfast money goes. Questions about that, comments? And that will be in April.
Yes.
April.
And I will keep you
precise
posted
18th.
about the dates. A date has not been set.
Right, they met after the business meeting and
They
they
did.
picked a date, but I don't want to tell you the wrong one. so-
Okay, I will
Sorry.
get you that date.
Yeah, I will email it to you and let you know.
And it's fun to volunteer there, and I encourage all of us to do so. The board.
So that is the end of the agenda, and
I'd like to make a motion that we close the meeting, adjourn the meeting.
Any additional?
Is there any public
Oh.
comment? Yeah.
Just because it's at
the
the
public.
end.
Okay,
It's at the end.
so I will second his motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, wait, I want to hear about the fire runs and everything. We always do that, isn't it? You know?
Extremely busy, we still continue to get a lot of calls. I do want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to consider the paid guys. It is just amazing to have the paid staff on. They are absolutely a huge asset to this department and the residents of Wabash Township. This township, as you guys hear, and I'm sure you see on the media, it is absolutely exploding. I'm telling you, when Klondike Road gets 4-laned, it will absolutely be amazing how much more growth we'll get out here. So I will continue to work with you guys, and we'll try to get more paid staff. I think that's a huge goal for the board and Jennifer as a trustee, and I pledge that we will work together and get that done. Our new truck is scheduled to be out of the factory on the 29th of this month. It's actually going to be an amazing truck, multifunctional truck. So I will keep you guys posted. I'd like you to be here when it comes in.
Oh, yeah.
It won't be in service for the few months afterwards because you have to order all the equipment and stuff, but it will be an amazing truck. It'll be state-of-the-art, like no other piece of equipment in this area. So thank you very much for your support on that, and I'll keep you guys posted. I imagine it'll probably be able to come down and take a look maybe the first or second week of February. We'll try to get to New Orleans and get it back.
Do you think it'll be outfit by the pancake breakfast in April?
It will be very close. So there's a large conference. It's called FDIC, Fire Department Instructor Conference. It's the nation's largest fire department instructor conference, and it's held in Indianapolis. And there's just vendors from all the United States. We've actually been asked to have that truck there. So I don't know if the moon will align perfectly in the timing, but it comes down to the executives there at Ferrara who made the truck, if that's the truck they want to be down there on showcase. But there is that possibility that it will be down there in April. So it just depends on if everything aligns right. We'll try to get it in service as quick as we can. But it's just a matter of getting everything in.
All right, thank you. All right, all those in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Bye.